Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Assessors meeting of January the 26th, 2023. First order of business was to approve the minutes of the last meeting. No motion for that.
Make a motion and we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Have a motion with second, any discussion? All three say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. First on the second, personal property values change. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. On page 3. And we had, these are the 22 digest changes that we had. Really proud of it. It's a boat. They moved to Alabama. Green Energy Concepts it's a business that closed as of 2020, and they discovered that they were still on our digest due to a 5-favor ABT, and we had to remove them because they were closed in 2020. So we actually moved it to 2022, 2021, 2021. And unfortunately, this is one that got missed from the past administration due to not going out to check what is and what is not in the county. So we had actually looked at a plan so that it could not happen too much more in the future. The next one is William Jones. He also had a boat that he sold the boat in 2021, and he forgot to let us inform us that he sold the boat, so we could take it off after he sent the sale. And Lurick Investments was not located in Douglas County at all. They sent their accounts and returned in for 2022, and we just got to remove it.
Any quick question, were they ever in Douglas County?
No, it's a gas station that was never in Douglas County, but for some reason, another man is in Douglas County, so they count him. The Douglas County pays up to home insurance, but not the vehicle.
It was only for 2022.
Only for 2022. And then you go to page 4 to the same thing over again, that for Fontaine's bargain buys. Fontaine's bargain buys to the offshoot, I guess you say, Fontaine's computer repair on Douglas Boulevard. He closed in 2018, and we took him off and then put him back in 2018. So 2019, I'm sorry. So we had the reprint for 2019, 20, and 21. He actually was gone. Because he had Fontaine's bargain bin, and he had Fontaine's computer repair. And Fontaine's computer repair remained open. They had their own account already. Someone saw name Fontaine, so they said we closed there, and then so they went back 6 months later. It was closed like in October. So not reading the entire name, I guess, is what happened with that. So we had to be more careful and vigilant on reading the entire name of the business, not just seeing the first part that was. Service first, they processed their returns. They had estimated value. That's on page 5. Page 5. We had an estimated value for 2020, so we had to correct their values for 2020 to the top 5 value and return for the prior years. That's all I have. Well, this is the account number. The P number is the account number. Oh, it's just the number that they come into the digest report. It's kind of, we can almost read it because we it's all lumped together. So when we print that, it's for it's wrong. lumped together. And it prints, it's just, it separates commercial first, personal private second, and then residential third. So you get out there, printing out the board. So you'll see like, 2022, the first three would be commercial. So 1, 2, 3 be commercial. So we have a $2 section. Receiver 1, 2 would be under the commercial section.
Other than that, motion to approve the personal property values changes.
Make a motion that we approve the personal property digest changes as presented by staff.
A second.
Have a motion and second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have real property values.
Good morning. Good morning. Good, no party. Just me back. I'm going to start off with some a recommended approval for request for a non-disclosure status in Georgia Code 50-1872. We have an elected official here in the county that called our chief appraiser about his non-disclosure on this property. And then we discovered that he owns all the lots surrounding him. His personal home is already non-disclosed. But if somebody looked him up, they would find all the lots around him. So he is requesting that all of the vacant lots surrounding him be purchased over for privacy. And we would like to also grant him non-disclosure on the vacant lots surrounding him. It's what he's requesting today. And who it is.
Is there anything unusual about this request?
I do not think so. I think we even suggested that to him. And so, I don't know.
Just a few lots, not,
Actually, it's 6 lots. He had 6 vacant lots around him. I think so. I'm positive.
Yeah, he already had non-disclosure, so
Yeah,
it's
only
good.
2 lots. Yeah, but the vacant lot, if someone were to look it up and go right out there, they would find his house right there. So, yeah.
Which is good to me.
Okay.
I'm going to turn the motion to that.
I can make a motion that we approve the non-disclosure request as presented. Second.
Have a motion and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay. Next up, starting on page 6, we have an exempt property that we are removing from the exempt status. Ms. Calderon came in and said that she did not receive a tax bill. She purchased the property in 2021 from the church. And it's a home, it's one of the homes right next to the church, right after Central Church Road, that church home, but she purchased it. And she did not receive the tax bill. Because the church was the exemption status was still on there.
Don't see that every day.
So, well, she wants to make sure that she doesn't get a big lump sum and she's going to have to get her escrow adjusted. So we sent an appraiser out and took a look around, discovered that the detached garage was a little bit larger than what we had. So we increased the value from $142,200 to $149,700, and we removed the exemption on the property. So she will receive a tax bill for 2022 after it's tax. On page 7, we're going to start with ownership corrections and homestead exemption approvals for 2022. And this is the 1 and 2 of 2022 of administrative change agendas. And that's how the numbers start with administrative changes. The first one is the owner called, the prior owner called, because it was 3 parcels. And this particular parcel is the cell tower site, the land itself. And the prior owner was getting the bill. He was tired of getting the bills for this particular property. It was sold in 2018. I don't know why he waited until now to come forward. So we had to correct the ownership on this particular cell tower site is 0.111 acres. No change in the values, but we're gonna go back to 19 on the ownership correction. And if you look on page 10, you will find it for 2021. On page 12, you will find it for 2020. And on page 15, there's no change in that.
How are there now or just on the line?
I think it's just in black, because I was looking for the cell tower, right? So, and the next one on page 7 is we had a walk-in, and it was also 3 parcels, I'm sorry. The other 2 parcels titles were transferred, and this third one was missed. So we had to correct that one for 2022 on trip. No change in the value on that one.
Is there a question on that? Is there a corresponding entry for the correct owner or the current owner?
For which one?
Or the one that you just mentioned?
It's 3 and 1 was missed.
Oh, the other one, yes. The other 2 were transferred properly. So this one was the one that was missed. So this is the only one.
Okay. But the
Other 2 parcels are correct.
They would come in on the deed, so the deed should take that deed 3 parcels, but 1 probably was missed at the parcel ID.
Up to it was written. And page 8, number 8 at the top was a basic homestead exemption is approved because they brought in all their documentation. On number 9, it's going to correspond with another one in a second. It turns out that the exemption that was placed on this particular property, on this particular one, was the wrong exemption for this person. It should have been 65 plus for year 2022. And for year 2021 on page 11, it should have been senior exemption between 62 and 64. They were 64 in 2021 and they turned 65 for 2022. They were actually given the exemption for under 6 or less than 62. They were just given the S5, and it was incorrectly put on as just an S5. He came in and spoke to our homestead exemption specialist about it, and she actually did the math on it for us. And so for 2022, he gets 65 plus, and for 2021, he gets the seniors between 62 to 64. Okay. On the next one, 10 and 11 go together. This was a split that had a late approval on it, and the owner for number 10, Villalobos, came in and she's called a few times about getting the ownership corrected and the acreage split out properly. The Daddy's girls actually own all of the property, and they split out 8.33 acres to the Villalobos, but the Villalobos were still getting the deal for all of the acreage. So we split out the acreage properly, recalculated the value, so the value on this one was reduced to $521,000. And on 11, they did receive a bill because they were an A parcel. It was a second dwelling on the combined land, but when we split it out, they only received a bill for the improvements. So we added the land, the leftover land, to this particular parcel. So their value is going up from 149.2 to 186.3. So they're increased. Okay. All right. The next one, 12, is a basic homestead exemption. They brought in their documentation. On 13, the Madia, I'm not sure if I'm saying her. She called in and says that she is the rightful owner, her and Myron Johnson. We had the prior owners due to a deed that was recorded prior. They recorded an affidavit affecting the quitclaim deed, where the deed that was created to change the ownership back in 21 was recorded in error, and that the deed is now null and void. So it reverted back to Media and Myron Johnson for 21 and for 22. The one that's now null and void. This is the affidavit that corrects that and reverted it back to the two owners. On page 11 is where number 7 on page 11 is for 21. No change in values for those 2 years. You just have to revert it back to the owner after quick claim. Careful on doing quick claims. It's the caution.
So, you know, I was just going to ask you about that. That sounds like an interesting transaction. So there was not a thing with the insurance correct, but nullified.
Yeah, nobody wants to copy it. Okay. The next one, number 14, Larry Pruitt. He called in about his homestead, and it turns out that the calculations were put on in error for years 20, 21, and 22. So we went back and looked at the homestead calculations, and it was calculated incorrectly. The base year was incorrect. So it didn't change the value in 22. It remains the same, but the behind the scenes, what is qualified for exception, was corrected. On page 11 is for 2021. Number 9, there was no change in the value, but the freeze in the back was also corrected. And for 2020 on page 13, number 6 at the top, the value was corrected on that one from 400,100 to 396. And the freeze was corrected on that one. Page 9. Number 15 is for the misdeed for 2022. That ownership was correct. That changed the value. Number 16 is LV, which is a veteran, 65 years plus. They brought in their documentation, so that was approved. Number 17 was a continuation of the one on, no, it's not a continuation, I'm sorry. This was recorded after the close of digest. This house was purchased in 2019. Georgia law, and I'm going to get Meredith to help me here. You can purchase a home, get the title to it, but you do not have to record it in the state of Georgia. So they recorded it this year, even though they purchased it in 2019. So if you don't record it, you don't know that the title is changed. So they reported it this year after the closing ownership. Yeah, so in 2019, 2021, 22. Page 11, you will see the correction for that one. It's number 10, but due to our system, it did not add Roger Muhammad on. Number 10. 21. The Roger Muhammad name is there, it just didn't print out on the sheet. Uh, 18 was an approval for an S5, which is veterans under 62. They brought in their documentation. On page 10 was a continuation of the sale to hold fight. On page 11 at the top is Christopher Knuckles, who came into the office with his documentation. We approved him for 22 last week. I mean, the last meeting, we do 21, so we're doing 21 this week. Okay. Number 6 is the one that we spoke about before with the wrong exemption on there. That's the 64 years old for 2021. And number 7, we don't know there either, but we're going for it. Number 8 is Roger Jones. He had He had it for 2022, but for 2021, we needed to put that on there as well. Number 9, we would approve, and number 10, we spoke about. And on page 12, with the tower fight. And on 13, we've already discussed the first 2. And number 8, we completed the ownership correction again last week for 21 and 22. We did not get 20 for this particular, so we put 21. 14 is the clear policy. We agree with 20. Those are all that admin changes for ownership and homestead.
Again, motion to approve the admin changes and no change. Oliver, thank you. I make a motion that we approve all of the admin changes and no changes. Motion second, any discussion? I'll make sure aye. Those in favor?
Okay. All right. As you know, we've already completed all of the appeals for this year. Everything was over in BOE. So we're getting BOE results in. We have 3 days of residential BOE hearings, the 17th, the 18th, and the 19th of last week. And on the 17th, the first 3 are vacant lots that we sent the notice out on at $27,100. And Lynn looked at them, made adjustments to them, and determined that they were outlots. And you know, our policy here is that outlots are 10% of the regular lot values in the particular neighborhood. So we reduced the value to $5,439, with $54,000 being the vacant lot values. Well, it went to BOE. Homeowners spoke, we spoke. Homeowner, my understanding is that they said that the lots would not cover. And we feel that the 10% value of the regular lot value should cover that. But the board saw it differently and reduced it to the prior year value of the $1,400. Now, we, the appraisal department, like that. So we are going to put it in your hands to help us decide whether or not we want to pursue this further. We want to make sure that our policy, we don't want to set a precedent for where we are going lower than the 10% of the outlay. And the $5,439, it brings about $82. $1,400, I'm not even sure it goes why. What can they do with it now? I'm not really sure. Lynn, can you help me on that one?
I spoke with Ron Johnson in the city of Billerica, and he indicated that these lots, the reason we had put them on as an outlot to begin with was because, you know, anytime a lot's left over from a builder, typically those are outlots, or they would build on them. But throughout the years, we've had these on at an outlot value, but I have found out through new knowledge through the city of Billerica that these lots could be built on. So that's something else that we're in the discovery process of, is to find out what exactly needs to be done to the lots in order for them to be built on. Is it minor site prep, major site prep? We don't know. We need to go out there and lay eyes on it, because the owner indicated that the city of Billerica would not issue permits. I don't know if he's been up there or not. I don't know if this is hearsay, but he says there is erosion on these lots, and we really need to come out and look at them. So we're going to do that and start the discovery process of that. But as far as the city of Billerica is concerned, they are building at this point. But, you know, we've got a lot of back and forth, so we're not real sure yet. But I do think that the $1,400 that was reduced by the BOE is definitely a low value. Yeah.
So they don't have a survey or study that shows that it doesn't hurt, they just think it doesn't hurt?
come up with. They were told that years ago. The value's been low for all of these years, and this is a year that, we've had a lot of outlets from the import deal. The value's been taken off, and the outlet value is not put back on them. So it's actually bringing it to the forefront now. So no, we don't have it, and I don't think the owner provided that at the BOE either. He just stated that in the board, sort of like with the prior year value. So we would have to do, like you said, some more discovery to find out exactly what can and cannot be done with these particular lots. But in the meantime, we need to decide whether or not we want to pursue this further.
Well, one of the first things that came down to me was, I was like, okay, well, they may be setting a precedent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we need permission from you all to go further.
So quick question, so this goes to Superior Court. Just thinking from a cost standpoint, what would be the cost benefit analysis?
That I'm not positive on. Again, the $83 with the 5,439. We have to file fees to go and there's it on those.
I'm sorry. Is there a chance that we go to, we have like settlement conference first?
Well, that'll be first.
Prior, there would be a settlement.
Fees have been going back up higher. No.
I mean, the cost to litigate that would be more, obviously, than the tax dollars, because $83, and it would be treated as every other tax appeal.
Sure.
So once it goes to court, we would be engaging with the other side. There would be court fees. I think the court fees, it's just $25, but
Hopefully we can do them all together with the 125.
but so, I mean, it would cost more. However, if it's not something that you want to let lie, it wouldn't be a precedent of something that we would do because this was a BOE decision. So the Board of Assessors would not be bound to doing something like this with future cases forward. If the Board of Assessors, it's our position that it's 10% of the lot, we would continue doing it. Because this is a BOE decision and it's not the board's decision. But other people will probably then try and fight that based upon this if they have knowledge of it.
So based on your experience and exposure, what do you, you may or may not have like the actual case to say, but what are your thoughts? Do you think that we actually have a chance of getting this overturned in Superior Court?
I think quite honestly, it's a case by case basis because we don't know at this point, based on what we've discovered, we don't know if the class R actually goes or not. So I think it depends upon what Lynn finds once we're going through, which we may need more time to do that, which it may be prudent then to file the appeal, continue doing the research, and then once we get to the settlement conference, if we realize, okay, we shouldn't.
And it shows that we're not just, that we're paying attention.
Sure.
And because, like I said, it doesn't set a precedent necessarily, but we advise the next, if it happened the next time. However, those court filing fees and stuff multiplied over every Clark County would not seem as much. But I like the idea of filing, letting them do some more research, and then going to a settlement conference with that information in hand and see what happens. That's how I would do it.
I would say that some kind of study or watershed study or some kind of survey would be incumbent on them to produce, as it regards, buildable lots from a water standpoint first.
When you go to a BOE, you're supposed to, if you have evidence, you're supposed to give it to us before, to the Board of Assessors prior to the meeting so they can review it and be ready to argue their case appropriately. So I don't know if we got any of that information at all about the protest.
Historically, the boards that we have, they just take what is presented as presented. They don't, sometimes they don't even look at it. Sometimes these decisions are made by emotion. Sometimes it's just made by who they know, and so it's just what we're facing. So we need to do the right thing.
But yeah, we need to set up, or at least send a message to the board that, hey, you know, when you're in your meeting, you should be looking at the evidence. It should be evidence-based decisions.
Right, and they all had to take an oath to say that's what they do, but it's human beings.
I would entertain a motion to take these three that we just discussed to the next one. Discuss the rest of it. You don't want to.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Most of it.
So I'd like to make a motion. So when we say next level, we're saying that we'll collect evidence and take it to like another meeting, like a mediation meeting.
What is that?
Settlement.
And then they'll narrative almost right beneath the seven.
I can be involved. Typically, I'm not involved.
Yeah.
I take one that's not involved.
Okay.
Then
Obviously, they'll have a dialogue between.
So I'd like to make a motion that we follow as outlined, that we take it to the next steps in Superior Court with intermediary meetings come as part of that.
That one can say, okay. All those out. Motion advance. The rest go
The rest of the day went pretty well. There were some few no changes and some other changes, all less than 20%. The one change, 137, 15, 133, was 17.8%, and that was based on sales in that particular neighborhood. January 18th pretty much went with no changes, and on the 19th, no changes, and almost all of the changes are less than 20%. The change of 18.2% on parcel 12159 also was based on the sales in the neighborhood. And that is all we have from these.
Quick question, was January 18th board the same as the January 7th report?
I believe they were the same all in that week. She's rotating the three from each week. I believe so.
A lot of you entertain motion to approve these DOE decisions that money.
And let the motion that we approve of the.
Thank you. Motion second. Thank you. All those say aye. Motion passes.
Thank
you.
From the last page, the discussion of commercials. Joey had other duties this morning, so I'm in place of him. Steve, the first one was hearing officer conference. The apartments on 311, 18224, and the settlement agreement was settled at 16,356,600 with 11% change. That was in line to be uniform with other apartments. And the second one that's listed 176,15243. Again, that one was lowered due to uniformity with other apartments at 36,911,250. The second set is, these were a settlement before the BOE. The first one, the first two are going to go hand in hand, 57,1565 and 66. The settlement on the first one was a 44, almost 45% cut, and the second one was almost a 50% cut. And these were adjusted these were vacant with a different rate per acre, and they were adjusted to 70% of the improved vacant rate per acre, and then 30% of the vacant was taken as the whole to do the adjustment. Does that make sense? Yes.
Wow.
I was hoping I made sense there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how that was calculated.
Is that a consistent calculation that we're seeing?
Steve, you might want to jump in with me on this one.
It was, the surrounding lots were industrial lots, and these lots were appraised based on income approach to land. However, we did not make an adjustment to the land, because the land is allocated value. In the income approach, you can put anybody on the land and build it, because we're looking at the total gains. So the homeowner was looking at the lots decider and said, these lots are lower than mine, they're valued at a lower rate than mine. So I had to give her consideration for that. So in future, we need to put the allocated values based on realistic land values. That wasn't done, and she had a point. So I had to broker a medium to get an agreement, and we did. Can you advise the previous land value?
Yes, the previous land value of parcel 65 was $362,900. There was a settlement agreement at $200,000. For parcel 571566, the previous, I'm sorry, yes, relatively low. On parcel 65, historically, back to even 2016, the value's been at $21,900.
What was that was 21?
21 value was 21,900. And on parcel 66, the 21 value was 10,300.
And what's the 22 version?
22 is 258,100.
Absent settlement agreement, it's dramatic, five decimal point.
So it's now in line with surrounding the land value. In fact, it's still a little higher because we did a percentage of the surrounding.
Was the same thing applied to the first two?
Yeah, the first two. It was the first two. Yeah. The other one is just straight, which she hasn't touched.
Well, I'm sorry, I was thinking 0024 and 0243. Those. Those from income. And I was saying.
No, it wasn't the same concept. Those were looked at based on their income, and if the particular properties are showing like significantly, we use models to determine the values. So our model for let's take a Class C apartments, we use 5% vacancy, 30% expenses, and 7% cap rate. And that's typically what the model is used for the Class C apartment. Now, there can be a Class C apartment that comes in and says, well, our vacancy is 7% and we are using 5%. So we'll apply those differences. So we look at them for specific appeals. This is when we have appeals is when we look at the specific details on these. So those adjustments were to make it uniformly within where they fit. So they don't all fit in the model. We are master graders. So the first two adjustments were based on that. Their vacancy might be more, they may bring their income statements and say, oh, our expenses is more than the 30%. So we look at, those are the things we look at now when they come in and can make sense.
Perfect, it's just
yeah. So those two weren't, no. But those two, they're still within our range of values because, it's a range of values. But once we put that model, all won't fit into the model. So there will be variation, but they still fit into the range of Class C apartments.
And the last one in that grouping of 23, 18 to 11, so there was a 3.53 acres. And there was a settlement conference on this one. The value was settled at $7,850,000 from $8,303,800. That was just a 5
percent.
And then our last set, there's, no change there. No show, no change, so, we got our data. That's all the commercial, update on Kumba. We're currently in the process of receiving renewals and the new applications still, and, we anticipate on reviewing these next month and get just to the board.
What do you think about to approve these commercial property we have noted? Make motion that we approve the commercial properties as noted. Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? I need George.
Yeah, we continue to review appeals, and we have been receiving some continuation of appeals. So right now we have some appeals that are not satisfied, which the board's decision are further its superior court. So we are setting up settlement conferences, and as you know, we have taken some of those superior court as well. So that is wrapping up now the superior court section. We're getting ready to do some joint maybe doing settlement conferences. Or
Even still.
oh yes, doing DOEs today. But that's where we are now, and we are still working with scheduling DOEs and looking at rescheduling stuff. So for another 3 months or so, we'll still be doing that. Our scheduled date to get the assessment notices out is the end of May this year. So we're looking at bringing it forward so we can get it downstairs earlier, so at least a month early. So we're working on that. Our limitation is staffing, where we still are short 3. So we found out that the HR had removed our advertising. so we have put it back up. So we were wondering why we weren't getting any new applications. So we have updated the entry level, the lower end of the since we got 5%. We did not get what we wanted, but it's still a little bit better than what we had. And I'm also looking at alternate avenues to get the work done. So I'm also looking at contracting resources that can assist with it. So I'll update the board as soon as anything developed on that. We're running with both right now, updating the advertising and researching the right type of contracts that we can go into to get the work done. Because it's crunch time already. Yeah, and we should be getting our car back. What the new car run? It's the insurance coverage was done and all of that, so it should be done now. And what I've done is assigned one of the cars now to personal property. So personal property, they've been using the 2 cars, but we have assigned one to them so they can go out as they need, because we haven't been doing personal property in the past, and we need to be out there. We are better appraisals when we know what's out there. So that has been done, and they now have a car at their disposal, but they're still short also. So, but that's pretty much it from my standpoint. I think with what we have with the limited staff, I think we're doing a very good job, but I still think that they're all overwhelmed, and they have expressed, in no uncertain terms, and so we're trying. I just pulled just FYI, it will affect. I'm sorry, we have a shortage of paper tile with people for each word. I'm sorry, Mary. We only need one for each board member. So you can have,
Oh.
yes, you can. So, Douglas has had a lot of investors buying homes in Douglas County. So I saw this on CoStar this morning, one of the news update, that the Biden administration is setting motion plans to create a national renters bill of rights, tapping into the growing trend among states and cities around the country to address rental housing affordability. So I know it will definitely affect our country, but we have a lot of rental properties and a lot of investors.
Were we number 5 in the nation, or?
I'm not sure, but we were climbing the ranks. I'm not sure if we are.
You know, per capita or geographical area or whatever.
Right. So, but we, with investor owned, and most with investor owned are rental properties. So they're looking into pillars. I thought that just to bring it to the board, that this was on the news yesterday on both sides. So I definitely know it will affect our market. Yeah. So just an FYI, but apart from that, I think we are steadily moving forward with the park. And I appreciate the support from the board. We, after a discussion at the last meeting, we did get 2 additional computers. So we have, and 2 monitors off the 34 monitors. So, we got 5 monitors. Yeah.
So, have any tore up in the meantime?
Pardon me?
Have any begun to malfunction?
No.
So you're dating,
Yeah, so we're dating. So just FYI, we'll eventually get there. Yeah. So to Martin's point, so it's not the Martin, just the
I know it's I.
Herschel.
Herschel Clark.
The Herschel, Mr. Clark. I was just about to say that. The Herschel's point, I don't know what priority means, but we got 4 monitors. So we are waiting 30. Wow.
And 0, I think.
And, yeah, but that's it from me.
So just quick questions, anything else we can, so from the funding standpoint, but we didn't get what we wanted, correct? We got 5%,
Which was already slated.
which was already slated, so basically, they had nothing.
Yeah.
So there was the impression adjustment that they made that in December also. So it's another month before that. Right. That's for all.
And so it's a compression adjustment?
Different range. Okay. So I got to put in on their position.
Time.
Whereas we were, no, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
With this fair to the Board of Commissioners, the compression adjustment did a lot to a few of the people and staff, because I looked at one particular person, and if we did the 7% that we asked, it would just bring them to just about where they are now. So it did a lot to some folks. Yeah.
well, just from a managerial standpoint, I would agree if I was to preface something being overwhelmed is to do quality work rather than, I know there are certain deadlines that you have to meet. Obviously, you have to meet those deadlines, but concentrate on quality work rather than trying to get it all done. And because eventually down the road, the quality will shine more so than trying to get it all done. Yeah, that's
a good point.
a point that I've tried to make. But, no. Because I've been in situations where I've been overwhelmed and I'm like,
Yeah.
take really good predicated steps and don't cease to work hard. Yeah, but
Yeah,
You're doing rework too.
yes, that's what exactly what it is. Quality reduces rework. So, yeah. Yeah.
Down the road, that'll make a difference,
Mhm.
or a difference. And we appreciate the work that they're doing so far.
I think those, I think,
I know it'll be good, but.
Yeah. Absolutely. And is there opportunity for us to go back to the board of commissioners and voice our displeasure? Being able to financially.
Sure you are very interested. I need to go to one of the commissioners meeting there. They're doing they're out there in the street. So I one-on-one with them on that.
Well, just remember to lean on this card and say, you know how important this work is. It's not,
Yeah.
it's the nexus for such a tremendous amount of income of the county.
Yeah. Yeah, and she knows, they all know. I guarantee you I've spoken to each one in there. They are all aware. And I'm sure you all know that they are aware of what we do and understand we do. And Terenia was there. She was a board member. Yeah, so she knows. And I know she's lobbying for this department. Yeah. In no uncertain terms. But
Just remember to be Socrates' gadfly. Just
he's always a philosopher. Yeah.
in a nice way, be a nice gadfly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Would y'all like to say, the next group is the first? Curious in your brother.
I think that's the good thing from the government. And you can see it, how exactly would affect our values.
I just heard it on the local news all, and I didn't know it, and I didn't know where to pay property taxes today. So, did you carry down on that? I don't know.
No.
I saw it.
I'm not aware of any refunds. So the state is doing refunds to the housing. I don't know. I need to get more on that. Yeah, my elected official knows. It's the big idea what happens.
Well, I would like to go to it would be 2.5 weeks, but it is going to be in class February 6th to the 10th, it's a man. So the 15th would be February 15th, they have found one day, I'll have to do it for me. Yeah, you could go, it's on the 16th, on the 16th. Is that okay with?
It's better for me.
But it's, going a little while late, is that okay with?
Well, yeah, I don't think we have too much person.
So February the 16th, Thursday, February the 16th, how does that look for everybody?
It's not good.
That's good. Here to here. February 15th at 9 o'clock. When I come back to Savannah, I'll have an answer that question next Thursday. That might be, I don't know, but you're asking.
It was something I think that, I can't remember if it was Roy Barnes, but something that one of the governors had put in place and it's supposed to come back in 2023 for 1 year. But it was something that was mentioned during class and wasn't going into any great detail, so. But I didn't know it was something that's happening in 2023.
Okay, so it's for this year.
It's only for this year, 23.
Oh, so I didn't have it yet.
No, but there should be more information for them.
But I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion and second, all in favor, say aye. Motion passed. Take us off the line, man.
Tuan, thanks. You can take us off.